Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to Hope 70 Let's Talk. Tonight's little episode is going to be about starting your photography business. And yes, I may or may not get a lot of different opinions coming my way at this, which is perfectly fine. We're all entitled to our own opinions. Um, but I want to say, in my personal opinion, with my personal experience, um, if you want to start a photography business, go. You don't necessarily have to have the most expensive, top of the line camera and equipment and all that kind of stuff. Because truth be told, and this is kind of a hard pill for a lot of us to swallow, but it's just reality. Um, there's a lot of really awesome, what is it, iPhones or smartphones, whatever they're called, um, out there that take phenomenal photos. Um, I've actually had, well, I mean, I've had, iPhones and smartphones or whatever they are. Um, I've had them in the past, and I've taken many photos on them, printed them out, and they come out just as great as some of the photos I've taken on my professional camera. Because I'm gonna say this, and I stand. What's the phrase? I stand 10 toes down on this. Um, it doesn't really matter um, the tool that you use to take the photo. What matters is the final result of the photo, the quality of the photo, how that photo comes out, whether it's a digital photo or a printed photo. That is what matters because that's what people keep. Um, I will say, I've had a few photographers. I don't want to say amateur photographers, but beginner photographers. I've had a few of them, come up to me while we're photographing games and whatnot, and they're using their phone. You know what I mean? Whether because they either can't afford a professional camera or they just don't want one or whatever the case may be. I don't know. But they're using their phone to take photos. And they've showed me the photos that they take, and they are amazing. Absolutely beautiful photos. And then they showed me the edited version of it, like the final product, um, and they are magnificent. And they become a little self-conscious because um, they feel that because they're not using a professional camera, that the photo isn't a professional photo or it's not top quality, whatever the case may be. And that's just not true. It truly does not matter. And again, I know I'm probably gonna get hate for this. It is what it is. We're all entitled to our own opinions, and this is just what I've experienced with my experience out there in the field doing out photographing, and just my own personal experience with my own phone. It truly doesn't matter what tool you use, and that's what everything is. That's what our cameras and stuff are. They're tools that we use to capture moments, right? Whether it's a professional camera like a Canon or Sony or whatever other kind of camera there are out there, your phone, Polaroid, whatever you use to capture the picture, they're tools, equipment that we use to capture these moments. And then we edit them and we put them out there. What matters is how that photo comes out, right? Now, I'm not saying that you can take a photo off your phone and blow it up to billboard size. I don't know how that would work. I've never done it, never tried it. I have no idea. I do know that I have taken cell phone photos, and I have blown them up 13 by 19, and larger, and they have come out beautifully, absolutely beautiful. And I've gifted those pictures out to certain people, and they've hung them up, and the photos get high praises, and everybody loves them. Um, so if you want to get into photography, if you want to become a photographer, if all you have is your phone, just use your phone. Just use your phone. You know, I mean, you might have to mess with the settings on your phone. I don't know. I don't know how the phone is. I don't know how each phone is set up. Some of them might be just as easy as open it up, point and click, and you're done. You know, some of them, you know, you might have to mess with the settings a little bit. I don't know, but you know, I was talking to one of my fellow photographers a couple days ago, and he was talking about how he feels a little self conscious about really kind of putting his work out there because all he's using is a cell phone. And I have seen this gentleman's pictures. I have seen them right after he takes them because he shows them to me on his phone, and I have seen them the edited version, and I think he might even edit it on his phone because I think you can get Lightroom on your phone for free. Maybe you just edit it on the software that comes with your phone. Because I know depending on what kind of phone you have, it's just a thing that's on your phone already. It's part of the gallery or the camera, or whatever, and you can edit the pictures on your phone, or you could download the Lightroom app. You could be done multiple ways. But anyway, he showed me the pictures that he takes, you know, right as soon as he takes them, and they're incredible. You know, and then he shows me the edits afterwards, and they're incredible. You know, so I kind of had to give him a little gospel preach or mini ministry or whatever you want to call it. And you know, because he was feeling a little self conscious about himself and about his work. You know, seeing that he kind of want to put it, he wants to put it out there, but he's not too sure because you know they are cell phone photos and stuff like that. And you know, and I had to remind him because he told me too, and I had to remind him of this. He told me that, you know, he has clients coming to him via social media or whatever, however they're coming to him, asking to book his services to photograph something they're doing. And the photos that they're seeing and that they're loving and that are attracting them to his business are those photos taken from his phone. So, you know, I sort of reminded him that, you know, if anything, you know, when you post the photos, just say, hey, by the way, these are taken by my cell phone. You know, that way people can, they, full disclosure, you know, and they can make the judgment if they want to hire you or not. You know, me personally, if I could, I would hire him. Um, you know, but it's just, he is a phenomenal photographer, extremely talented with the angles, the close-ups and the positions and all that kind of stuff. Truth be told, he is one of my most favorite photographers that I photograph alongside when I'm doing sports photography. I have a lot of favorites. I do have a lot of favorite photographers that I photograph alongside all the time, because they're all so incredibly talented and unique and just great human beings and just amazing young adults. Um, you know, but this one particular kid though, you know, he's something special. You know, he's extremely talented, you know, with everything. And I try to explain to him, you know, that, you know, you have to use the tools that God provides for you. And, you know, we all start someplace. We just have to let God guide us in our journey. And, you know, I explained to him, you know, that if he's getting people coming to him, you know, saying, hey, you know, I saw your photo online, you know, I'd like to hire you to photograph this. You know, like, what are you, you know, complaining about? Like, that you have no reason to be self-conscious about your work because, you know, that's what they're after. You know, I told him, I said, worst comes to worst, just put a disclosure statement on there saying that they're taken from cell phones because that's what I used to do too. You know, and you know, some people will judge off of that and they won't hire you, which is, you know, it's whatever. And then some people are like, okay, cool, you know, it makes it even easier, I guess, and they'll hire you. Um, you know, and I've also the flip side of that is I've also had people come up to me and, you know, they try to ironically cut me down on the photos that I take on my professional camera. Say, oh, hey, my phone can take better pictures than that. And we've compared, and to me, but the photos look phenomenal. You know, I would never diss somebody else's work. Um, for whatever reason, they thought that it was a good choice to come over to me, and you know, compare, you know, that person's photo on their phone to my photo on my professional camera. Whatever. I've got thick skin, so it didn't bother me. I just thought it was kind of weird and random. Um, So, I mean, just because you only have a phone, that doesn't mean anything at all. If you've got a phone, go start taking pictures. Post it to your Instagram or your Facebook or whatever kind of social media you have, and get your stuff out there. But just make sure you watermark it so people know it's you. If you can copyright it, copyright protect stuff like that. If you're old enough to go get your LLC, go do all of that. You know what I mean? Get your business started. But we all have to start someplace, and sometimes we have to start small, and that's fine. That's where I started, and but don't be self conscious, to start taking photography or start doing photography just because all you have is a phone, because that's a tool that a lot of people use. So even if you just have a phone, go start taking photos. Go start building your business. Go start building your portfolio. Go start building your resume. Just start someplace and grow. And when if you get blessed to have a professional camera, then, I'm sure, like with me, especially, because I went from using my cell phone to my first camera was a DSLR. And, that was my first camera, and that definitely gave me my start. It definitely gave me my name. It definitely gave me my popularity. It definitely gave me my business growth. And it was a beautiful start to my journey for sure. But then I was blessed, I think, like a year later, with being able to get my very first mirrorless camera. I think my very first one was the Canon EOS R6. I think it is what my camera is. Um, and then, after that, I got the Mark II. So I've got high grade, high quality cameras and lenses and all that kind of stuff. And it really has upped my work and my popularity, my business and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like everything comes, comes as it comes, and you just have to be patient. Because believe me, there's actually, um, not necessarily another camera out there that I want, but there's another lens out there that I've been dying to get. So I'm hoping I'll get that soon. But you just have to work with what you've got, work with what you're given, work with what you're provided with, work with what you're blessed with, and just go from there. So yeah. So if you're just, I say a lot to say this again. If you have a photography bug, and if all you have is your phone, go use it. Start building your portfolio, start building your resume, go snap away. If you're able to afford, professional camera, go get that. But don't be afraid to start small. Just start. The main thing is you just start. Um, So yeah. So to all the photographers or all the beginning photographers out there, or the I want to be a photographer photographers out there, um, you know, let God guide you in everything that you do. Make sure you do your research though. If you're about to purchase whether a new phone or a camera or any kind of equipment or tool, please make sure you do your research. Ask other photographers what they use, how they like it. Google different things, YouTube different things. Um, Maybe try shadowing other photographers. Do your research, because photography is extremely expensive. The cameras and stuff like that are extremely expensive. Even phones are expensive, and you don't want to waste your money, and you don't want to get it over your head. So definitely take the time to research. What you have to think about what kind of photography you want, what kind of photographer you want to be as well. Whether it's like sports photographer, or nature photographer, family photographer, or everything. Because you also want to make sure you buy um not just the camera that is suited for what you're needing, but also lenses, because there's a gazillion types of lenses out there. And so you need to do proper research, um and for each lens you want, to make sure that it's the lens you want, because they are extremely expensive. And unfortunately sometimes they only last a couple years. Some of them last longer than that. But either way you go, they are expensive. So you definitely want to do your research, um, and it's Googling it or YouTubing it or asking other photographers or watching reels, whatever, just make sure you do your, really your research when, the camera and the lenses and even the SD cards, computer, like all that kind of stuff, just make sure you do your research on everything you get before you get it to make sure one, you're not wasting money, and two, to make sure that it's going to fit your needs because everybody has different needs and different wants and different styles and all that kind of stuff. Um, but either way you go, just start and enjoy, have fun. And if you end up seeing me on Instagram or Facebook, follow me, and um, like I tell the photographers all the time too, like especially like the young ones that come up to me and like or ask me questions and stuff like that. I always try to connect with them on social media, and then what I do with that is when they post their pictures, as long as the lyrics are clean and there's no cussing in it, no derogatory terms like that in it, and the picture is respectable. I tell them that if they tag me in story, then I will share it to my story to try to give them exposure. And I can also tag other people in my story to help with exposure as well because I'm connected with all kinds of people. So if you are a beginner photographer, feel free to find me on Facebook and Instagram. And I'm going to have my Facebook, for those of you who are watching this, my Facebook, Instagram will be somewhere in this video. If you're just listening to this, my Facebook and Instagram handle, I'll put that in the description box. So if you're listening to like Spotify or iHeartRadio, wherever you're listening to this, um, click on it in the description box or whatever it's called. I'll put my links in that, and you can just click on that and follow me. And if you and tag me in the work that you do, and as long as it's appropriate for me to share on my page, I have no problem give you positive exposure. But like I said, just make sure that the music is clean, the pictures are clean, because I will not do a collaboration nor share any kind of photos or that are inappropriate, or disrespectful to whoever the photo's about. And I will not share or promote anything if it's got cussing in the lyrics or if it's got any kind of derogatory words, any racial words, anything like that. So you gotta keep it clean. Keep it clean. And I'll check it out, and if it's something that I can share, I will share it, and I'll tag you, and I'll tag some other high people, for your exposure, stuff like that too, because I want to be able to support everybody that I can, supporting, being supportive of other, business people in our community is extremely important to me and important to everybody. I think everybody should support everybody else too. But yeah, anyway, my Facebook and my Instagram are both Hope70 Photography LLC. They're just types, they look a little bit different on one because with like the underscores and stuff like that. So if you're watching this, it's in this video. If you're only hearing it, it's going to be in the description. So just click on that, and follow me on both, and go from there. But yeah, other than that, I hope everybody is having a great week so far. It's almost Friday, and I'm so excited. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Subscribe, follow. Okay, love you, bye.